What's going on, guys? You already know who it is. It's DeFi CV. We cooking it up. We whipping the pot and serving that DeFi sauce. Today, the sauce is about Fibonacci. Yes, Fibonacci. His name was Leonardo Pisano Bogolo. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but he's basically from Italy. Well, at least he lived in Italy. His nickname was Fibonacci, and it means son of Fibonacci. So that's pretty dope. I never knew it meant son of Fibonacci. So I'm learning something new while y'all learning something new, right? So basically, oh, look at this, Fibonacci Day, November 23rd. So shout out to y'all if it's your birthday. So basically, we can come up here and we can Google what's Fibonacci, etc. And now Fibonacci is a sequence. Fibonacci sequence is a series of numbers 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, etc. Right? So the next number is found by adding up the two numbers before it, right? So the 2 is found by adding two numbers before the 1. So 0. Adding 1 to 0, whoop, adding 1 to 1 is 2, adding like etc. Adding 2 to 1 is 3, adding 3 to 2 is 5, adding 5 to 8, 3 is 8, etc. Almost got confused there. So that's a simple way. Now here's the long list if y'all want to really get into that, but you don't need that. So now basically you say how is in nature, right? So basically this is the Fibonacci by design, right? You got the 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. It keeps spiraling, and it's a bigger spiral. So you have it in the galaxy, you have it in even the spirals inside of a sunflower. You have this rule everywhere. Like it's everywhere. And matter of fact, you know what? Let's look into it. Look, Fibonacci. Listen, everybody could do this in nature, right? Everybody could just Google something and look it up. You don't have to believe me. And this is why I'm also using Google to do this, because I want to do this with y'all. I want to show y'all how people get it done. So here's the spiral of sunflower season. Y'all can see that clearly, and y'all can see the 21, 34, etc. And if you count from in there to out, you'll see the spiral. Pine cones has the same Fibonacci's. Tree branches, same Fibonacci levels. Shells, like one of these shells, you can see clear as day, Fibonacci. You can see that, like that's not even made up. Spirals in galaxy, Fibonacci. You can see the Fibonacci in there. Hurricanes, Fibonacci's, like everything. Faces, Fibonacci. Everything. I'm not even gonna get to it because it's just everything in nature has this Fibonacci sequence. So let's get into it. Right now we're gonna go straight into what is Fibonacci and what am I talking about. So what are Fibonacci retracements, right? Fibonacci retracements are trading indicators derived but from the relationship between the numbers and the sequence themselves. So we'll get into that in the chart, but basically you're gonna see that. How do Fibonacci retracements work? The retracement levels are based on percentages and provide price levels of support and resistance where potential reversal in direction can happen. They can be used to establish entry and exit points for your trade. Now this is important. Potential is the key. Potential. It doesn't mean it's going to be right on the dot, right on point, nothing. It's potential. So it's like an idea of where you can enter or exit, right? What are Fibonacci numbers in trading? Fibonacci numbers relate to the Fibonacci sequence. A Fibonacci sequence starts with 0 and 1, and then each number is the sum of the previous numbers. Many traders use Fibonacci numbers for their moving average settings like 8, 21, 34, 55. Now, this is the one that I always mention, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you heard me, is the golden ratio. What is the golden ratio? It's a sequence. Each number in a Fibonacci sequence is about 1.618 times greater than the number that it came before. So the ratio or the phi, I guess they call it here, the ratio, we'll get into that in what they call it in crypto, but you can always Google, what you think it is or how it is, etc. So you can come here also, like, you see this is the Fibonacci level. You can come here and just look it up yourself. Look, even a butterfly, I guess Fibonacci is everywhere. So let's get into the charts. Let's go to the fun stuff, right? So the best way to look at Fibonacci, especially in a big market like this, let's clear up this. Remove all drawings. Forget all that, right? Let's go on the monthly. Now let's talk about Bitcoin, but in a bigger scale, right? So Fibonacci's in trading, we have a lot. We're going to focus on Fib retracement, not trend-based retracement, Fib extension, not the pitchfork, not any of these other things that look like almost like Fib speeds, Fib spiral, Fib wedge, none of that. None of these Fib, nothing. We're gonna focus on fib retracements, right? So usually when you get a Fibonacci, you know, it doesn't look like this. Usually it's, let me see, let's just apply default here. You're gonna get it like this. So it's gonna look weird because it's upside down, right? Or not upside down. It's just the way I like to place it, right? It's from the bottom to the top. And right now is backwards because it makes more sense for me to add it like that. So you go into settings, right? The levels and all that, that's up to you. Whatever you want to add and take, you should look into that. But I personally do certain things. You know, I like to take off the background, for example, etc. I reverse it. I like to do that. You know, that's me personally. Some people like to take off the prices. Some people like to take off the levels. Some people like to take off the background. Like whatever it is, you know, you can see there from left to top, whatever. You can switch all this to your liking, and then you can save it as your template. You see how I have different templates for Bitcoin scalping, and because it's just different. I'm not gonna get into that. So you save it as, boom, fib test. I don't know. Let's call it that, right? The whip and fib. So boom. So now we have our Fibonacci, right? You can erase that if you doubt yourself. Now you can go back to the Fibonacci level, and let's say that I want to start at this low because this wick right here, I don't like it, right? So let's say I want to start at this low because it's more like a floor. You see that floor right there? And then I just want to target, let's say I want to target this high first. So you see where the mouse is, that white line, it's the 1. I'm going to put this chart a little bit bigger. So I'm going to just, matter of fact, I'm going to just leave it right here. Let's make believe none of that exists, right? You can come here. If you don't have logarithmic, you should put that because it helps a lot. So let's just say, right, for the fun of it, that none of this exists, right? So we're going to do this realistically. We're going to say this was the first dump, and then this was the first pump, right? And then, because then you have another dump right after, because it broke this high. I'm going to show you right now. It broke this high, right? So technically that's the first pump. So let's say that's that. So now we're seeing this, none of this exists, none of that, right? So we're seeing that the Fibonacci, you know, we started it from here. You could do however you want. I started it from here because the lowest low and because it's the floor. And I took this one because it was higher than this one. You could also take this one, or if you go into the daily, you can take another candle in here in the daily, but we're in the monthly. So we're going to do it as is. So boom, we're going to do that. Now we're going to see the Fibonacci. It plays out perfectly. People pump it and they try to break this one, and then they dump it to this one, and they pump it to this one, dumped it to this one, pumped it, broke out, went to this one, then it probably dumped on the dailies to this one, on the hourly, but then it went crazy and it went to that one level, that Fibonacci level, and then it broke down to that 50. This is the golden ratio right here between that 0.618 and that 0.5, etc. That's what people consider that golden ratio. So basically, you know, it's, and again, don't quote me on nothing. Go look it up. If I'm wrong, you can also, you know, teach me. We're all here to learn. So, you know, they try to break this level, and, you know, they were fighting bears and bulls until they broke it, and then it went to this next Fibonacci level, and then it broke down, came back to this one. You see how it plays out? So it's potential entries, you know, and potential exits, potential entries, potential exits, potential entries, exit. You get the point. So now let's go on a further journey. Now let's say this is definitely a bigger high, right? But let's just take the Fibonacci because it already broke this, and let's go to here, right? Now let's go to this one, and now we see these same levels. Boom. Okay, so now we broke, and now let's say we up here because we haven't checked in months. Now we up here. Boom. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. It tried to break out, fake out, and then it broke back down to this one. Now let's say all of this broke out and it went up to here. You know, it went to right here only, because remember, none of this exists. Look at that. Perfect. It's basically perfect. So now, you know, give or take, whatever you want, however you want to look at it, because the Fibonacci, you have to always, like, you basically always have to adjust how you're trading, right? So let's say the months go by or whatever, and now I want to look at this level, because it's not that it's gonna keep, you know, pushing, right? So let's say now this is my floor right here, right? Let's say that's the floor right there, and I want to look at this now. Hold on. So now let's say I want to take it from here, from down here to here, right? If we look at it on the weekly, it makes more sense, you know, a little bit, etc. But you know, you could do whatever you want. You can move it to here if you like to, because if you don't like that pattern, or you can move it down here, because you know, it depends how you look at it. The whole point is that the entries you could see them. And the Fibonacci levels, you can also see them. Depending how you play it on the weekly, if you're scalping, all of this is going to differ. Because if, let's say, I go on the 4 hour, I could just throw a Fibonacci right here, you know? And then that Fibonacci inside of there is going to tell me different things than that monthly. You see how it plays out perfectly? And look, I put it to here, and look how it played out perfectly. Won't try to break down, and now it's trying to break down. It's trying to. You see, it's basically that. It's nothing. It's nothing, you know, that is sure. It's nothing that is you know, proven to be a 100% right, because a lot of people think that this is just, you know, retarded, to say the least. But that's how basically Fibonacci's work. You play with it however you want. Just make sure the low you pick. Like, let's say we skipped this already. We're already done with that. So now I'm over here, right? So now I want this low. And now I want this high. You see? So that's how that plays out. And then if I want to move it, I want this low now, which is a horrible wick. But let's say I want that low, and now I want I don't know, this high. You see how that plays out? Boom, 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 boom. It hits every level. And if you want to, you know, be a little smarter, you can lock it so it never moves, because that happens to me a lot. But you can see the play or the movements that it does. You can see it. And this is a, you know, if you want to call this a wick off pattern or whatever, you can look into that. You can look into the cheat sheet that I always show. So these patterns do exist, and you know, these levels exist, but they're not 100% accurate or sure. They're not proven. They're just, you know, places where people know that people are going to enter and exit, and they're easy to manipulate. Because if a whale has a lot of money, they'll have a lot of sell orders here, a lot of buy orders here, and it's that simple. Just like here. So they'll have a lot of buy orders here. Ooh, they'll have a lot of sell orders here. Push it down. Take it to that, you know, close to the ratio, the golden ratio or whatever, or that 618, which is also bullish. Or if you hold that 786 is super bullish. You have a lot of orders here. Look at that. It bought up, and then it blasted up. And then they made you think it was going to break up, you know, after that. And it just dumped down on you. So it just depends how you look at it. But yeah, that's a simple version of a Fibonacci. I'll get into more specifics, you know, into the actual how to add other levels or whatever, or, you know, even this one. I'm gonna do this one real quick. So this one's a little bit more confusing. Even I had even I was confused when I first used it. But basically, you take it from the bottom, you take it to the nearest top, and then you bring it to the nearest floor, and you're supposed to to the next level. But you're supposed to find trends with this, right? So you're supposed to find trends with this. So it really depends how you look at it and where you look at it from. Because if you look at it from a daily perspective, it's probably this. If you're looking at it from a monthly, it's something else, and you can add more levels, etc. You can also see like where it has potential to go, etc. So let's say if I wanted to start here, I can go here, I can go to this top, and then I can go to the nearest floor. So a lot of people could, you know, they could probably consider this or this. I think this makes more sense because just because of the level it's at. But, you know, let's say it's this one. You know, it depends how you want to play it. It all depends how you want to play it. And then oh, that's not at the tip top. And you can see the same thing. You can see the same thing, and you'll see the levels, etc., etc. And again, if I have anything wrong, you guys could tell me. With this one, I'll get more specifics. I really don't use that one that much. I stick to fib retracement. So, you know, I call it as how I see it, man. How I see it. Fibonacci sequence. You already know.